Tata Motors.
क्या हमारी माँ बहनों के लिए शौचालय का प्रबंध नहीं कर सकते?
The Prime Minister's Swach Bharath Abhiyan, focusing on sanitation, hygiene and waste management, finds common cause with CNN-IBN Clean Up India campaign.
I'm pledging to keep India clean, keep your country clean.
Clean up the filth.
Clean India will be great India.
Join hands, clean up India.
CNN-IBN invites you, the citizen, to share a dirty picture on IBNLive.com.
Let us clean up India.
Also meet Clean Up India heroes, helping the nation to clean up its act. On Gandhi Jayanti, join a CNN-IBN initiative, Clean Up India.
Welcome back to Breakfast with India. We're continuing our coverage on the 2nd of October and of course the government's Swach Bharath campaign. What we're showing you now are visuals from the Valmiki Basti here in Mandir Marg of Delhi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently at, and he will be starting that cleanliness drive as a symbolic gesture to encourage everyone to follow this campaign really. And on the right side of your screens is from earlier on when Prime Minister Modi visited Rajghat paying tributes to Mahatma Gandhi on his birth anniversary. He also followed that up with a visit to the Vijay Ghat to pay tributes to former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. It's his birth anniversary as well today. But the focus now on Valmiki Basti. We're trying to get you visuals from the location, but security there extremely tight. So the media has been kept at a distance, but we should be getting you visuals in a short while from now.
Absolutely, and the Prime Minister will be dedicating public toilets in this area. In fact, talking about toilets, the Prime Minister spoke about this in his Independence Day speech and said and urged corporates and MPs to build toilets in their area and make sure that every school has toilets by 2019. I believe we can go across to Priyanka Dubey, who continues to join us from Valmiki Basti. Priyanka, just take us through the arrangements there, because we believe that this area was sanitized several days in advance.
That's right. In fact, the whole process has taken about 2 weeks. This entire area has been sanitized. The building has been newly painted, whitewashed. These roads, as you can see, the signages also have been freshly painted. This entire area has been spruced up, cleaned, rebuffed. Even the street lights have been scrubbed. And also there was a security drive which was carried out in the area where Delhi police officials had gone and checked the IDs of residents living in this area, especially around the place where the PM had to visit. So a lot of these residents were telling us that they were subject to that kind of scrutiny, clearly because there is very high security demand when it comes to the Prime Minister, and he has been and he will be visiting the colony, entering the colony, going to the Valmiki Mandir, talking to people there. So the security has clearly been extremely high. The presence of NSG commandos, Delhi police officials, even senior officials from the NDMC has almost become a common sight for residents living here. Most of them told us that they're extremely happy about the kind of arrangements being made, because there were garbage dumps in this area which apparently hadn't been cleaned for months, and because Narendra Modi was to come here, those were also cleaned by the very NDMC officials who seem to have not bothered about it till now. Another thing that I'd like to point out is that this Valmiki colony mostly houses Safai Karmcharis from the NDMC. So these are people who were the chosen ones by Mahatma Gandhi, which is why he was staying here. He even had given a clarion call to keep India clean way back in 1946, and 68 years after that, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pledged to take that forward and to ensure that today, on Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, this day becomes a day that most Indians, especially government officials, pledge that they will keep India clean. After the Valmiki colony, Parikshit, the Prime Minister will be moving towards Rajghat, where after a speech given by Mr. Venkaiah Naidu and Nitin Gadkari, the Prime Minister will launch the Swach Bharath Abhiyan. He will also be flagging off a walkathon dedicated to Clean India, to the Clean India campaign, where we know that students, government officials, teachers and citizens from across the country are going to be participating. Today is also a very important day, because unlike other 2nd of Octobers where most government officials take a holiday, today all government officials will be working and will be taking that Clean India pledge at 9:30 along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
All right, Priyanka, hold on there. Thanks for the moment. And of course, the big concern or the big point that needs to be reiterated is that this should not not simply be limited to the 2nd of October. This should be a sustained campaign. It's not just areas where the Prime Minister visits, where cleanliness drives should be witnessed in the way in which they are being today. So that's really where the challenge is going to be. Now, India's growth story needn't be measured only by the height of its buildings and the strength of its stock market, as it is usually. Here's a look at how one family in Pune has turned toilets for India's poorest into successful business models. Here's that report.
जंगल में सुबह संडास के लिए जाता है
4 बजे किसको आती है 5 बजे आती है किसको 6 बजे आती है डैम के पूछ के आता क्या
When you gotta go, you gotta go. You may cringe, but you can't hold your nose at what is now a shocking fact. According to the World Health Organization and UNICEF, more than half, that's 54% of India's population, defecates in the open. That's 12 times more than Indonesia and China, who are a distant second and third on the list.
For 638 million Indians, this is a luxury. Nature, their only shield when nature calls. But meet Rajiv, Ranjit and Ulka, who are bringing dignity and welcome relief to thousands of Indians.
The Pune-based trio run a sanitation business aimed at providing portable toilets with cleaning services to India's poorest, construction workers, slum dwellers and to large-scale religious events.
It's not a very glamorous business. There's a dearth of toilets. We want more people like us who would probably join hands with us, or even independently we would help them set up.
But cynical bankers scoffed at this MBA's business model in 1999.
But when I went there to give a bank, the guy just laughed at the business plan. I said, what are you going to sell toilets, deal with toilets?
A trial with 2 toilets on loan from a German friend paid off, and CARE has now converted a whole lot of human waste into a turnover of 10 crore rupees a year, catering to 8 cities and 1 lakh people.
It's recyclable, it's very easy to maintain.
This toilet that you see behind me has a 250-liter tank. This particular tanker, it will evacuate all the waste. Then this sewage is taken and disposed of at a sewage treatment plant.
This trio has successfully turned around a dirty business, proving that social responsibility needn't be a loss-making enterprise. In Pune, Raksha Shetty.
All right, there you have another story. We are now going across to Priyanka Dubey, my colleague, who is standing by at the Valmiki Basti, a place in central Delhi, very close to the Mandir Marg police station. And Priyanka, the news we're getting is that the Prime Minister has just made a surprise visit to the police station. That must have given authorities quite a shock.
That's right. In fact, it's very interesting what the Prime Minister has done. Now, this was clearly not part of his schedule, but also probably the Prime Minister is trying to send out a message that you cannot plan something like this, because we have been talking about how this entire area, as soon as they got to know that the Prime Minister will be visiting, was spruced up, cleaned, rebuffed, repainted, and probably the Prime Minister wanted to ensure that his visit does not become simply a symbolic visit, and there is more to it. Like we're talking about a sustained campaign, which is why he's doing a surprise visit at the Mandir Marg Thana, probably to take an account of how clean the Thana itself is. The people who have been working in this area, providing security, ensuring that all the residents are checked, their IDs are checked. Have they really checked how their own workplace is? With the Prime Minister giving a clarion call to the entire nation, saying that we have to keep the nation clean, something that he mentioned way back in his Independence Day speech. This is the day that he is really taking that forward. He is going to ensure that this continues to remain a sustained campaign, that it's not just symbolic gesture from the Prime Minister. That's the sense that we are getting, because mostly we know that how Prime Ministers function is that you always know what their schedule is going to be, and that's how it functions to the T. But today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken this sidetrack. He's gone to the Mandir Marg police station. This has clearly come as a shock to most of the officials here, who were completely unaware of this plan by the Prime Minister. But maybe the message he wants to send out is that don't try to plan for my visit. The point is that the message needs to go out clear. The point is to clean India and to continue a sustainable campaign, and that's probably why he has taken this measure.
All right, the surprise element being kept alive by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We'll see whether there are any more surprises in store for us. One quick question to you, Mr. Khan, before we head into a very short break. You know, Priyanka was pointing out that worry, Mr. Khan, that this shouldn't be simply limited to the 2nd of October, that this should be something that should continue. Is that something you're confident in, seeing the manner in which this entire mission really has been touted?
See, as far as we are concerned, we are pursuing it continuously since 10 years, and we want to we continue it, and to bring sustainability we have commercialized it, and it is doing very well, and it is in partnership with Bangalore City Corporation. Now we are trying to extend it to Noida and also Rajasthan and Pune. All these places we are already trying to expand our project there also, and we are expecting at least in Pune we can do at least 10 tons a day consuming waste plastics.
Right.
And if you do it to the optimum capacity, there will be scarcity for plastic waste.
Right. It's very good to hear that, Mr. Khan, that you're trying to take your concept, take your vision to different cities across the country, and probably that's what the government also needs to do, have a coordinated effort as far as cleaning India is concerned.
Right. So we'll take a quick break on that note, but we'll be back on this because this is a story that affects you and me. So we'll be getting you many more special reports from across the country, including expert voices. Take a break and come back. Once again this morning, Mr. Ahmed Khan, thanks very much for patiently being with us here on CNN-IBN on Breakfast with India. We keep having to go to the live visuals as well as the Prime Minister's program is currently underway. But Mr. Khan, this is certainly a difficult mission, isn't it? Because we've seen this in the past as well. Where exactly is the problem? Is it simply a lack of awareness? Is it simply lack of commitment by the enforcing agencies? Where do you find the biggest problem which we can address?
No, we lack of initiative. Only since 10 years, only this Bangalore City Corporation has come forward, and they are cooperating. With their cooperation, we are able to do so much and prove so much. Almost we have consumed around 20,000 tons of waste plastics, which have been buried into road construction, and by giving better performance of the roads.
Right, that is a good point, that the several governments that have been in power have not really shown enough initiative as far as cleaning India or cleaning surroundings are concerned. Mr. Khan, just stay with us. We will go back to the visuals in Valmiki Colony. My colleague Priyanka is with me right now. In fact, Priyanka, we can see visuals of Prime Minister Modi coming out of the Valmiki temple. He is accompanied by a lot of leaders there. But if we speak about Valmiki Colony itself, it houses sweepers employed by the New Delhi Municipal Council. What do they tell you about the Prime Minister's mission, about this drive that is being launched?
These people have been working to clean India for the longest time. These are employees who've been working with the NDMC as Safai Kamchari almost for centuries. These are jobs that literally get transferred from father to son, and most of these people who are living here get a house after working with the NDMC for 10 years. So you can imagine that the residents here have been Safai Kamcharis for at least a decade. But having said that, these people continue to say that even though they are employed with the government, sometimes they do feel that they are exploited, that they are not given what they deserve, and probably they have that hope from Prime Minister Narendra Modi that now that he's coming and visiting the Valmiki Sadan, their prayers will also be answered. What they have been doing for all these years, trying to keep the national capital clean in this part of the world at least, because that's what that's the area that the NDMC officials work in. They have a hope from the Prime Minister that he will listen to their prayers, and also another hope is that when they've seen this kind of sprucing up of their area, which had not happened, even though they do work for NDMC, senior NDMC officials were visible here over the last 2 weeks, ensuring that every road, every wall, every street light is cleaned.
For facilitating the rack pickers, and we are paying 8 rupees per kg to collect plastic waste from rack pickers, and it is quite a good incentive to the rack pickers, and the rack pickers are bringing a lot of plastic waste to our yards without any hassles.
Right.
We have also put up bins at schools, and we are collecting plastic waste from schools also, and we if it is taken seriously, I think there will be a very big cleanup abhiyan.
Absolutely, and that's a good point that you're making, and taking that initiative to children in schools, because eventually they're the ones who are going to be ambassadors of this program. But talking about children and talking about our education system, Mr. Khan, do you think at some level now we have to take this nationwide campaign to schools, make it a part of curriculum, so that children of all ages are conscious about this?
Of course, yes, because plastic, according to me, is we can convert into environmental friendly, and if plastic is and encourage to use more plastic, so that we can consume paper. In turn, we can save the forest wealth.
Mr. Khan,
so provided if this solution is this concept is adapted of using plastic waste in road construction.
Right. Just give us, you're leading by personal example. Just give us what exactly was the trigger for you that suddenly made you feel that you needed to go ahead and do something like this, because everyone needs that trigger. So just help us with your personal experience. Perhaps you could encourage many others.
See, initially we were doing this plastic bag making industry we had, and we felt it is our social obligation to see this plastic waste menace. We have to find a solution to dispose plastic waste menace. So that was our inspiration, and we started working on this, and after finding it possible, we got it authenticated by sponsoring research at Central Road Research Institute and some of the IIT Chennai, IIT Kharagpur, and Bangalore University.
Right.
They all came with a scientific report that this is useful in road construction. Then we started this.
Right. It's good to get all stakeholders on board. If I can also go across to my colleague Meghdut, who is at the Sabarmati Ashram. Meghdut, yesterday you sent us the story of Citizens Nagar, where people have been battling filth, garbage and drainage problems for over a decade now. That was where Narendra Modi was the chief minister for several years. All right, I believe we have lost that link with Meghdut. We will go across to Priyanka Dubey now. Priyanka is with us at the Valmiki Basti. Priyanka, just take us through what's happening there right now. All right, I believe we can go across to Meghdut now. Meghdut, we were talking about the story you sent us earlier about Citizens Nagar, about how people there in Ahmedabad, in this particular locality, have been battling filth, garbage and drainage problems for over a decade. What's gone wrong there? How has the state government failed to keep some of these slum areas in Gujarat clean?
Of course, the story that we had filed was from a 2002 right settlement colony called Citizen Nagar. For the past 13-14 years, ever since the riots have broken out and these people have settled there, the situation is very much the same. After we did file the story, we did the checkup and we found out the government has, the municipal corporation has begun laying drainage line there, but the filth still remains. There are several areas in Ahmedabad that still remain extremely filthy. So yes, a huge amount of stress is being given by the new government. Anandiben herself has said that getting toilets into every houses is an absolute essential and the priority for her. The state government also passed a resolution yesterday. The cabinet passed a resolution that any person who wants to stand in an election for a panchayat should have a toilet at his home. Only then will he be eligible to file his candidacy. So work is being done, but yet huge amount of work yet to be done, and it remains to be done.
Right, a lot of work still needs to be be done. That prayer meet continues where Dussharan is at the Sabarmati Ashram. We're getting you visuals from here in New Delhi at the Valmiki Basti, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is surrounded by the locals there. A lot of them clicking pictures with the Prime Minister. That's where Priyanka Dubey is also at. Priyanka, while of course the security cordons are a little far away, but are you picking up on any of that excitement that we are witnessing here on our screens? Priyanka, can you hear us? All right, we'll try and go back to Priyanka, but we're getting you visuals again. We've been telling you about how Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the Valmiki Basti there, and he just visited the Valmiki temple as well, spoke to the locals there. This is a place where he will in fact be starting that Swach Bharath campaign. In a sense, he will be picking up a broom and also starting that cleanliness drive, making that statement, delivering that point home, using the symbolism that comes with October 2nd, and he's just returned from the US. Remember, just last night to this packed schedule early this morning, Prime Minister Modi is going to be visiting Rajpath after this. He is also going to be addressing the nation on the 2nd of October, that's in just about an hour's time from now, perhaps less than that, when he will be speaking to the nation. Remember, this is an area that was chosen by the Prime Minister simply because this is a place where Mahatma Gandhi had also stayed. So Narendra Modi choosing this as his third stop. First was Rajghat, second was Vijay Ghat, to commemorate the birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, and the third was this area of Valmiki Basti at Mandir Marg.
You're absolutely right, Arun, there, because that is what the Prime Minister is trying to send out with this message. He's trying to tell people that this is what they should remember and celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birthday as. Right now we can see him speaking to some of the sweepers belonging to the New Delhi Municipal Council. This locality in fact is the place where all of them live. Right now we can probably see the Prime Minister, yes, we can see the Prime Minister holding a broom there, and he is sweeping the floor. So of course the Prime Minister there leading by example. All his cabinet colleagues have been doing this in the last few days. There again, you have the Prime Minister holding a broom, wielding it at the Valmiki Basti, along with all the sweepers of the New Delhi Municipal Council. Of course, this is a very strong ritual, a very strong message that the Prime Minister is sending out. But as you said, Arun, from now on, we need to see whether this can be repeated and can be performed consistently till the 2nd of October 2019.
Right, it's symbolic really, isn't it, Parikshit? What you're seeing on your screens, the Prime Minister of India there, taking the broom in his hand, literally taking this campaign in his hand, and this is something that is being seen in political circles as well as a campaign launched by the Prime Minister himself. It's been associated with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, less with his government. Look at the kind of focus that there is. Prime Minister Modi there, along with the Safai Karamcharis of Valmiki Basti, picking up a broom, cleaning the area. Of course, Parikshit, the area looks pretty clean already, so I wonder what he's really cleaning up though.
Absolutely. In fact, this area was sanitized 2 weeks in advance, and that really couldn't have been helped probably, because these are protocol measures that are taken, and any locality that the Prime Minister goes to will be thoroughly sanitized. But as of now, you can see some of the MPs, some of the BJP leaders and the Prime Minister helping out sweepers and staff at the New Delhi Municipal Council's Valmiki Colony. He's expected to address the people here. The Prime Minister had in fact spoken about this in his 15th August speech. He also referred to toilets. He said his famous remark, toilets before temples, made headlines. He in fact has urged corporates and MPs to build toilets in their localities and make sure all girls' schools have toilets by 2019. He has been talking about Swach Bharath over the last 1 week. That is since the 27th of September. The Prime Minister's office has been running this campaign. They've been observing a cleanliness week, and right now he's there at the Valmiki Basti to take that campaign forward. Arun, there.
That's right, and we're all waiting for the Prime Minister's address as well, which should happen in some time from now, where he will be addressing the nation and talking about more about this campaign as well. Remember, it's significant that the 2nd of October has now really it's been talked about out in this manner. Usually it was over with the kind of protocol that VIPs did follow. Now you see the Prime Minister interacting with children there as well towards the end of his visit at Valmiki Basti, after picking up that broom, making a symbolic gesture as well. And this day really is becoming about one of the main principles that Mahatma Gandhi had spoken about, something that Prime Minister Modi had really had talked about when he put this entire campaign in context as to why it is going to be started on the 2nd of October, why this day was chosen. Remember, this day is high on symbolism, and that's why perhaps using this day to deliver that point home to whatever extent possible, so that it stays really. And remember, in repeated speeches, even during his campaign time, even during that Independence Day maiden speech that the Prime Minister made, he gave a context to the Swach Bharath Abhiyan, saying that it was one of the most important principles that Mahatma Gandhi stood for. So why not use his birth anniversary to launch that campaign, deliver that point home, striking all the right chords, really, the Prime Minister today, Parikshit, isn't he? He's speaking to the locals there, he's speaking to the elders, he's spoken to the children, he's picked up a broom, he's cleaning up the area, making all the right gestures. But once again, perhaps the job of the journalist is also to be a little skeptical as well, and hope that this is not just simply going to remain as a photo op. Really, it should go beyond that. Starting the 3rd of October, when the media is gone, when the 2nd of October is gone, we certainly hope that that campaign really remains. But one thing is for certain, the campaign here at CNN-IBN is certainly going to remain. Remember, you too can send us your pictures, your videos about the kind of cleanliness drives perhaps that you have adopted. All you have to do is send us your pictures, your videos with the hashtag #CleanUpIndia at IBN Live. This is the campaign that CNN-IBN certainly has been spearheading as well.
Absolutely. And the Prime Minister, of course, wanting to give a new meaning to Gandhi Jayanti. He is interacting with the sweepers there, he's interacting with children, he's interacting with all the locals there, trying to send out a strong message through those visuals. But of course, we'll have to wait and see how things change in the days to come. The Prime Minister also in a statement requested people across the country to devote 100 hours every year, or at least 2 hours every week, to keep their surroundings clean. He's asked all government officials to report on duty today and go ahead with their employees, go ahead with their officials and clean various government departments. We'll take a short break on those visuals. Lots more on the Prime Minister's Clean Up India campaign when we return.